We've gotten our hands on an early version of the game, and we're here to bring you 6 things you need to know about Civilization 6. Starting off with number 6, you need to know that workers have become builders. Builders have replaced these workers, and they work pretty great. They're also now expendable with a few limited uses, but it adds a bit more strategy to building your stuff out. It's kind of nice because if you plan how you expend them, you can build up a tile multiple ways instantly without having to wait it out. While it does add a little bit more micromanagement because most people didn't exactly micromanage their workers in the old games, I gotta say, being able to build up a tile in multiple ways in less turns is a pretty nice convenience, but it doesn't really hurt anything. If anything, it just adds more strategy, which is what we want, right? And at number 5, let's talk about the envoy system. The purpose of envoys changes up the city-state system by making it a bit more nuanced. Unlike the previous Civilization games, if you're affluent, you can't just buy allegiance as easily as it used to be. Now you need to use this envoy system to your advantage, earning and doling out envoys to city-states in order to reach the suzerain status. Earning the suzerain status earns you unique bonuses from each specific city-state. Earning and doling out these specific envoys to the right city-states becomes a whole new minigame of decisions in the game itself. It takes a while to build up and earn all these envoys, and you need to tread carefully because screwing up and maybe going to war will lose you these envoys that you work so hard to achieve. So think carefully before committing an act of war, and keep your envoys in mind. And at number 4, you need to know about the Traitors Unit. Traitors are a unit that can establish trade routes between your locations and other neighboring city-states. And the best part, they establish roads as they spend turns traveling. So as they slowly work their way across the map, roads will appear, and those roads stay and can be used by all of their units. When they return back from their journey to another city-state, they bring back gold and even some gossip. This gossip is useful information for the espionage and spying system that I can't totally go into detail with just yet. After they return, and especially in an early game, you can set them out to a new city-state and establish more roads. Once you eventually work your way up and get multiple traders, you can have multiple traders traveling routes, simultaneously going out and bringing back more gold for you. And number 3, let's talk about the major improvements to cities and districts. The thing worth mentioning most with this point that you need to know is that cities no longer stack. You establish a city center on your land, but the entire city and wonders and districts don't just pop up within that one tile, they spread out to other hexagon tiles around the city center. Each district exists as a separate tile, and because of this new version of the system, placement of these districts and your city itself is really key. You're going to want to think ahead when you establish a city and think where eventually districts are going to end up. Should they end up near a plantation, near water? You need to think about all of that before your city is even growing. The way it works now is that you can establish, say, something like a military district where you place barracks within those districts. You'll have a military district set up, and then once you finally build a barrack, you'll see that pop up within that district. These systems really go hand in hand because you can establish a campus district for improving research and education. And then within that campus district, you can build a college or a library to get other bonuses. A workshop, for example, requires an industrial sector. And I think it's worth mentioning that you'll see all these districts grow and change throughout the game. The industrial sector is a perfect example because while it starts out one way, eventually you'll see smokestacks and factories pop up. I know Civ fans really like those visual indicators of history changing, and it was certainly nice to see. And at number 2, you need to know a lot more about the fleshed out civics. Firaxis has moved some of the stuff that you would technically do in a research technology tree to their own new system because honestly, it makes more sense. You're now dealing with essentially 2 research trees. One for traditional technology to develop, the other for more civic-minded research and developments. This is where you research categories that improve stuff that influences happiness and arts and humanities and structure of government, and then even helps you advance in deeper government systems, stuff like chivalry, traditions and culture, workforce, education, and even theological stuff. These civics interconnect in different ways and give you different benefits and bonuses and draw from different resources, but this new edition makes you feel busier than ever. There's always something going on, and a lot of it. And at number 1, something I definitely think you need to know is that Civ 6 is good. I got to play it for a few hours at a hands-on, and I got 150 turns with the game. Everything flows nicer, and every system seems more tied into one another. More stuff truly has an impact on other stuff within the systems, and I think that has a lot to do with the new civic system that I already talked about, combined with government systems with how you dictate policies and government types. And I noticed the surface level stuff, but the new leaders are a ton of fun to look at. It's really cool seeing Teddy Roosevelt and Queen Victoria from England just be completely alive and expressive, and it's awesome to piss them off too. And the diplomatic stuff, especially the spy stuff, is really fleshed out and adds a whole new layer. In terms of visuals, the fog of war isn't just visualized clouds and actual fog anymore. Now it looks more like a map. Places that you haven't been to that would be obscured by fog of war now look like parchment paper on a Game of Thronesy old style map. The game has more detail than I think people have caught on to, and the colors are an improvement. I have seen fans complain about the graphical changes, but ultimately I like it, and I think there's a lot more going on here. Everything looks exciting. There's more transitions, building effects, and different little cutscene type of things. It seems like Firaxis has really learned from some of the problems with Civ 5 and used the improvements that they did in expansions as kind of a launching point. There are some other things, including 2 other systems, that add even more layers to the game that unfortunately I can't talk about yet, but I gotta say, Civilization 6 definitely looks promising. Guys, those are some things you need to know about Civilization 6. Of course, there's a ton more information out there, and there's a ton more to learn, but hopefully through my information and some of the recorded gameplay I was able to capture, you were able to get a good grip on the game. Of course, if you have any questions, let us know in the comments below what you want to know about Civ 6, and also if you want to ask me on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Jake Baldino, you can do that as well. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more Civ 6 stuff, you PC fans should click the like button because it really helps us out, and if this is your first time here, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.